Hello once again, humans. I'm Roman and welcome to a new video. Comic book movies. Ever since Donner made the Superman movie, the comic book genre became a new cinematic option for the general audience. For a while, we've seen only solo films like Superman, The Dark Knight, Hulk, and such. However, the Marvel Universe decided to make a connected universe, and that gave birth to the MCU. DC tried to create the same thing by making the DCEU, which did pretty good until Warner Brothers made horrible decisions. But what did the MCU do to be above the DC franchise? If you like this sort of content, please like, subscribe, and share it with friends. And also comment down below to see what would you like to see next. With that out of the way, let's begin. For starters, the MCU began to find ways to connect their universe ever since the Iron Man movie. DC did it with Man of Steel, and it went pretty well. However, the key difference is consistency and how the franchises work under pressure. Every time the MCU makes a movie that does not meet the expected reaction, they continue marketing it and making it connect to the next movie. And the next project they do is connected to the previous movie. Now, DC made Man of Steel and it was amazing. Then the studio decided to cut 30 minutes of Batman v Superman and it got mixed reviews, which led them to ruin more movies. DC wanted to replicate the Marvel formula, and so far, it has gotten them flop after flop. Let's use an example. A movie is like a dish. If you had mashed potatoes one day, you'd be okay, but the next day you may want to put some cheese, or bacon, or at least some gravy. Then you may add some vegetables and some meat, making a whole meal. Movies are similar. Making one movie in one style is okay, but when you make the same style for like 8 years, it does get tiring. The MCU has been consistent and has had a similar tone over the past years. However, now they want to switch things up, which may be a little bit difficult. But they still appreciate and respect every iteration and every movie. In Captain America Brave New World, they bring back important characters from the Hulk movies. In Thunderbolts, probably one of the best movies the MCU has, it includes characters from movies like Black Widow, Ant Man, and the Falcon series. The concept of the DCU is to try to appease Twitter warriors who have wanted characters to stay in the 80s. It's a sort of here's how to do it right thing, and it's already having a rocky start. But unlike DC, Marvel has a structure and it's not ashamed of using quote unquote bad movies to connect their cinematic universe. The DCU, however, has a pathological liar as the head of the DCU. First, the DCU would start with the Flash movie, and when it flopped, it switched to Blue Beetle, and when that flopped, it switched to Creature Commandos. He started first saying that Superman would not feature a younger Kal-El, and then later on he said that he didn't express such thing. Aside from his narrative switching, he is literally a one-trick pony. I'm going to describe 5 or 6 of his movies slash TV series with one single plot. Don't believe me? First, it's going to be a group of people that at first do not like each other. They scream, they yell, they make a lot of weird jokes or quote unquote jokes, and then they are all grouped together by a bigger force. Then they start meeting each other in the most superficial shit. They literally give 2 seconds of backstory, and then everybody feels related to each other. They have their first big fight against the big bad. They get their asses kicked. Then, once again, more yelling, and the group separates. And then They come back together because of the power of friendship, along with more yelling, and they defeat the bad guy in the stupidest way possible. Sound familiar? That is Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, The Suicide Squad, and Creature Commandos. Told you I'd do it. To wrap up this video, here are my unfiltered and unscripted thoughts on the Superman trailer. It is so funny to see the hypocrisy of quote unquote real DC fans because the trailer is literally the Kids Bop version of Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. You guys remember Kids Bop, right? The group of teenagers that took songs and stripped them of all its originality just to make it kid friendly. That is literally the Superman trailer. For the record, I watched it on Twitter because I am not supporting this bullshit. Let's start with the visuals. It looks like a PlayStation 3 character. Like the colors are so oversaturated that it doesn't even look real. It looks unfinished and it does not even look like a movie. It looks like a fan made movie, like a fan made short. Secondly, James Gunn strikes back with the screaming bullshit because when Lois Lane is asking questions to Superman, the reasonable answer of the alien is to get up and scream in her face. Third, the whole finding the hero's hideout bullshit is coming back because somehow Lex Luthor found Superman's home. And lastly, the hero is not loved. Once again, reminds you of something? Yeah, that's Batman v Superman. And the hero in other parts of the world is worshipped. Like literally, there's a child praying for Superman in the Middle East because, of course, it has to be. Reminds you of something? The DC fans that said that Man of Steel and Batman v Superman had too many Jesus allegories? This is honestly just hilarious. If you wanted a flop, you're going to get a flop because people are tearing this shit apart.